Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Fakur Amin bin Ibrahim and I'm from Group 6 from Section 42 Statistic. Our team is in charge of inspecting the quality of lajak kurus table F manufacture. In the next section, we'll do the statistical analysis on 200 sample observation drawn at random from 3 daily manufacturing shift, which is morning, evening and night. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I will explain the part A first. From the data given, we can separate the data for morning, evening and night. And using the pivot table in the Excel, we can conclude the weight, relative density and tensile strength. As you can see, for example, here we find the pivot table for morning, which is for weight, relative density and tensile strength. And next, for pivot table evening, we find for weight, relative density and tensile strength. And lastly, for night, we find the weight, relative density and tensile strength. The pivot table also can set the range for the data, as you can see here, the range for row label and the grand total of the frequency. Next, for the weight data, we can find the frequency here for morning, evening, night and the total frequency for every each of the row label. From the frequency, we can find the mean, variance and standard deviation. Next, from the frequency data here, we do the histogram. For example, histogram for weight in the picture. Next, we move to the relative density data. As you can see here, the frequency for evening, morning, night and the total. Then from the frequency, we find the midpoint, mean, variance and standard deviation. Then we do the histogram for relative density. And lastly, for tensile strength, we can get the frequency for morning, evening and night and the grand total for each row labels. And from the total frequency, we find the midpoint, mean, variance and standard deviation. And then we do the histogram for tensile strength.
Okay, so today I would like to explain about question B. So for question B, first we need to construct a table, which is the table contain data about wave, frequency, pi, EI and chi-square test value. So firstly, we need to find a range of the data, which is I select the range is about 300 to 330, 330 and until 340 and until 370 and 390. So why this data selected based on this range? This is because we need to find the data that exceed more than 15 the frequency is more than 15. So based on the frequency row, we can see that all the numbers of frequency are exceed more than 15 and we cannot take the value less than 15. We must take the value equal or more than 15. So to make sure that our frequency is correct, we need to sum it after we list down all the frequency. So we need to make sure that our total frequency is equal to the total number of data that provided by the question. So here we can see that our total frequency value is 200, which is equal to the total number of data that provided by the question. After that, we need to calculate the value of pi. So at pi, we need to make sure that the total pi is equal to 1. It cannot be exceed more than 1 or less than 1. So if the total value of pi is equal to 1, so which is the value or the answer that we get is correct. And then we need to calculate the value of EI. So same as frequency, total EI value must equal to 200, cannot exceed more than 200 or less than 200. We need to make sure that the numbers is equal to the number of data provided. After that, after we obtain the value of PI and EI, we need to calculate the value of chi-square test, which is the formula is frequency minus EI square divided by EI. So from here, we can see that the total chi-square test is equal to 2.4091. Okay, after that, based on the question, alpha at 0.05, we obtain the value of V is 5. So, based on X, alpha 0.05 and V is 5, we can obtain that the value of chi-square critical is 2.015. So, to make a conclusion, we need to compare the value of chi-square test and chi-critical, which is we need to make sure that chi-square test is less than chi-square critical to accept our H0. So for number 1, at wave 300 until 330, the chi-square test that we obtain from the table is 0.1936, which is it is less than our chi-square critical. So it shows that for number 1, it is accept H0. So number 2, at range 330 to 350, we obtain the value of chi-square test is 1.3, so that we can make a conclusion that we accept H0 for case number 2. And then number 3, for number 3, at range 340 to 350, the chi-square test value that we obtain is 0.5218. So the chi-square test value is less than chi-square critical, so we accept H0. At number 4, at range 350 to 360 is still the same, that chi-square test is less than chi-square critical value, so it proves that H0 is accepted. Same as number 5, the same step that we use, we compare the chi-square test value and chi-square critical, and still H0 is accepted. So number 6, at range 370 to 390, the chi-square test value is 0.0051, which is less than chi-square critical value, and based on the graph, we can make a conclusion that H0 is accepted.
For the question C, comment on whether there is any significant difference between table weights from the differential. First of all, we need to know what topics to solve these problems, since they ask for significant difference. So we use the ANOVA, which is analysis on variance. We get the raw data, so we need to tabulate to make it easy to use for the ANOVA. For the first column, we set as weight, and we need to use the range of weight, since the weight from the raw data is distributed. Okay. For the range, we just use from the question A and question B, same as the past question. For the next three columns, we set as the different shift as the groups, which are morning, evening, and night. So the value in for the shift is the amount of the tablet that is produced during the significant shift according to the range of weeks. When we using the formula for the ANOVA analysis, we need to calculate the count, the sum, and using the formula, we need to make this the data analysis of ANOVA. But when using the formula, we will stop until F, which is the MS for the between groups will divide MS within groups. So 12.0556 will divide 33.5778 and they will produce the F value 0.359034. But since we use the Excel to make the data analysis, it produces us for the p-value and F critical. For the ANOVA in our syllabus, we will use the p-value. Alright. We need to know the principle for the ANOVA, which is reject H0 if p-value lesser than alpha. What is H0? H0 is the statement which show us there is no different or no significant difference. So we write for mu1 equal to mu2 equal to mu3, which is 1, 2, 3 refer to morning, evening, and night. Right. For the H1, which is contrast from the H0, which is has the difference. So we write mu I not equal to mu j, and for the p-value that we get is 0.704192, and the alpha value is 0.05. So the p-value is higher than alpha. We can conclude that we accept H0. Therefore, there is no significant difference between tablet weights from the different shift.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fidos bin Miss Fuad. Today I'm going to show how to do the question D. Okay, first of all, go to File and click the Option button. So go to the Advanced and press OK. Then go to the Data and the Data Analysis here. Find the this regression, and click OK. So for the Y range, select the tensile strength data from the beginning to the end. Alright, for the input X range, select the relative data from the beginning to the end. Okay, take all this and take all the residual and press OK. So from the data we can find all this information and all the data tabulation in the graph. So I think that's all for the question D. This is how you calculate all this information by using Excel to complete the question D. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.